Yeah, when we're done, I can always make one and put it in studio and
Okay, I
change
think it
it.
might be working. All right, maybe.
Okay.
We're kind of testing it, guys, so you'll have to bear with us.
Yeah, we don't know whether. Hey, I just got a notification that we've gone live, so I guess it is working.
Okay.
Hey guys,
All right,
this
so
is new
welcome
for us.
back.
Hopefully, this is actually working.
Yeah. If not, it'll just be a test run and we'll do another one tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
Yep, that's fun.
alrighty. So,
Yep.
week 1, we already get a little bit of like pre-live chats anyway because we started out having a good day and then like just randomly towards the evening it just went and it was just did
Yeah,
not end
for
well.
no reason. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we're definitely excited.
Oh yeah.
Um, Now, basically, the November thing was kind of confusing, but we pre-recorded November's, and November ended, obviously. So it was 7 hours long. I had to chop it
Yeah.
into 3 parts. And so we released it as quickly as we could the first week. So if you go check it out, it's in 3 parts. Each one leads to the next part. And then the last one, I think, should lead to our first check-in for December. So now everybody's caught up. How
We're
y'all
all
doing? Let us know in the comments below
yeah.
if you guys are sticking with your December TBRs and doing
Yeah.
better than I am, because I am
Yeah.
not doing so well this month. I
Yeah.
did so good last month, and it's like, whoops, not so much now.
Yeah. I
But
I I'm just getting a good laugh at the single percentage point changes on Goodreads after I read like
oh
two
my
or three
gosh,
chapters. Like I
yeah,
went from a
my
whopping
goodness,
2% to a whopping 3% last night.
hey,
And I was
you're
like,
just going.
woo! And I told that to I made a comment to that to one of my kids today, and they're like, what
Uh-huh.
page are you on? And I said, 39. And
39.
I was like, out of 980. And he looks, and the kid just looks at me and was like, I wouldn't be able to read that. And this kind of goes into my whole rant, and I kind of was able to be like,
Yeah.
I on my personal channel, I made this little mini rant that, one, if you're not a reader, you haven't found the right book yet, and two, that
Yep.
if it takes you like 5 years to read a book, that's fine because you're still making progress and you're still reading and accomplishing something. And so yeah, I was kind
I
of
mean,
like,
we've all
oh,
been there.
and
I
I'm
feel like
like,
I
well, and
started
that
this
was
book 5 years ago, so,
well, and
and I've
it's
never
like,
finished it yet, so it
and
that
that's where
happens.
I feel like I hear that so much at school, and like so many of my kids don't like reading, and I tell them all the time that like they're like, I'm not a reader, I don't like to read, and I'm like, you haven't found the right book yet, and they're like, I just don't like to read, miss, like you don't have we haven't found the right book yet. If you're a reader, you just haven't
Yep.
found the right one. And that what proves it is
Mhm.
that several of my coworkers are starting to read Fourth Wing, and they're like obsessed with it. And it's like
Yeah.
I didn't know they were readers. They may very well have been readers, but I didn't know that. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Mhm.
Like watching all these people get
Yeah.
into
I
books,
know
and I'm like,
my
at least
sister
yeah,
isn't. And then she
yeah,
really
I
loved
know.
Fourth Wing. She's read it faster than I did, and she
Hmm.
doesn't read books. And
That
even
was
now,
so
like, she doesn't have
surprising.
a lot of time, but
Yeah.
she's still reading this comic that's like true crime kind
Oh
of
yeah.
vibe stuff. So I
Hmm.
mean, and even I didn't read for the longest time. So,
Hmm.
and it took me a long time to find the kind of niche that I like
Hmm.
to read.
Yeah.
And so it's just like when you really look, you'll find there's something out there
Oh
for
yeah.
everybody.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it happens.
And
But
then it's about finding like the
well,
genre and the template that you
mhm,
like too, really. Like,
yeah, it really is. And I don't know, there's just so much creativity out there. Like even if you don't really
mhm.
care for mainstream stuff, there's
Yeah.
probably an indie author out there
Yes.
somewhere that has written something that you would just
Absolutely.
love.
Yeah.
So,
Support
but
indie authors.
me, I am doing fine, I suppose. I've just hit a
Fine is
slump.
never a good word. Fine means that everything has gone wrong and it's a disaster and it's a train wreck and things are going to explode in 5 seconds. That's what fine means.
Pretty much.
So are you
Okay, well,
making like it's okay or it's like fine?
um, I'm in a slump because it's turned political and we've added
Oh,
a
yeah.
character POV, and I prefer somebody else's POV
Oh.
and the gladiator
So
stuff
it's
because
is it a multi
here's the
POV
problem.
thing?
The opening, yeah, it's like the opening was so strong and so good
Mm-hmm.
that I was like, I didn't realize this was the book that I've waited my whole life to read. And
Mm.
then we get to another
That's
person's
impressive.
perspective that's like, uh,
Yeah.
political, and it's
Oh.
all that is. And I'm not reading this for politics. I'm reading this for gladiator fight scenes and
Okay.
the beginning. And
Yeah.
so I'm kind of like, we've had this
How
person 3
many?
chapters in a row
Okay.
at the same time that I got more into Skyrim. So if I
Oh.
was more into Skyrim and it was good, I
Yeah.
would deliberately
Maybe
force myself to stop
maybe you should
playing
play
to
the
get back to
Civil
the reading.
War. Maybe you should play the Civil War in Skyrim to get back in the political mood.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is, like, I'm watching Rain right now, and Rain is very, very political, so I'm into it. It's
Well,
just my
how
expectations
many
for this
how
book
many
entirely was
chapters
like gladiator stuff.
how many chapters has it been with this so far? Like political?
3.
3.
It's only been like
How
3 that
okay.
really picked up on.
Okay,
Usually
are
this
these
person would have like usually there'd be like 3 or 4 really good chapters from the other character, and then like one of this one. I'm like, okay, that's it. I don't have to. It's not
so
too
there's more
bad.
than just
But
one
this one's
now.
been 3 in a row.
Okay.
And 3 in a row is a bit much for me. And it's probably not that bad. Like I said, I told you, go in with the expectation of politics.
Yeah.
Like, but it's just, I'm trying so
Maybe
hard.
you just need to
and I don't
connect
know,
with
and
the character a little bit more. Like if you could connect
maybe
with them a little bit more, that might help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil things, but it's just really hard. I've hit this kind of wall with this character, and I do like the character and I do like the concepts. And then on top of that, there's a little bit of some woke stuff that I didn't really care for. So I'm trying hard to kind of skirt around that.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's not going to play a big part. Yeah. But I don't know. There's just something about some of the politics that right now aren't interesting me. It's not hooking me enough. I don't know what this motion was, but it was like hooking me, I guess. Oh my god, dude, the first and second situations in the gladiator stuff, I like want to talk so it's so
you
good.
can't
oh
say
my
anything.
God.
Yeah.
I know.
Now you know how I feel about
say that, like,
every book in the series so far.
I'll just say really quickly that it's hooking me like Fourth Wing.
Ooh, okay.
But like male protagonist instead of female protagonist.
Your quote that it was the book you've been waiting for your whole life, I'm like, okay. Like I had to take like a double take for a minute there because like you've been like, okay, I love you dearly, but you are notorious for being extremely picky with characters and books and plot lines. And it's like there are certain series that you were absolutely in love with. The shadowy one, what was that called? I never got into it. Yeah, the
Mortal Instruments.
Mortal Instruments. Yeah, that was one of them.
Yeah, I love that when I was in high school.
See, like I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna bring up Twilight, and then I'm gonna be like, "Is Twilight one of those?" And then, considering everyone hates Twilight now and thinks it's cringy, I'm like, do I mention that, or is that just gonna counteract what I just said? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be quiet.
That's fine. But yeah, I don't know. And my tastes have changed as I've gotten older too. So now I'm a lot more picky. Like when I was younger, like in middle school, high school, I used to read all kinds of stuff. But it's just I miss, like, we never have a strong male protagonist that is like the key center. Usually they're always the love interest, and it may add the guy's perspective, but the focus is always on the girl. And that's fine. And I love that. And I love like Feyre. Like I was so mad when Feyre got replaced by Nesta. I love Nesta now. And so don't get me wrong. It's just I write guy characters. I don't know why, but I connect with men. I've always been that way. I don't have a lot of girlfriends that I've had in my life anyway. So I'm just I don't know. I connect better with guys. And so it's been nice.
All different. It's like personalities. Like you cater to certain things when you read. And it's just
everybody likes stuff that's like there's that thing that you just love in books that you're just excited to read about. And so, but the creative fighting is just, and the magic system and the creature, I can't get over the creature building in this. I honestly, this has been the number one high fantasy for me at a level that I haven't seen recently. So it's been,
excuse me, is this a standalone or is it supposed to be multiple?
She's setting up a huge, like, kingdom. So I probably can see it going further, but like also I now know what this scene is.
You do? Okay.
So be jealous. Yes, I know this is actually a scene from the book.
Very, very jelly. Okay,
But yeah,
speaking of
it's just
ACOTAR,
I just gotta get through the politics.
I
Yes.
have a theory that I stumbled upon.
Okay.
And I thought about sending it to you straight away, but I wanted your raw reaction, and I knew we were going to do
All right.
live stream check-ins on Fridays. Okay, so
Cool.
it says, "What if?" And I will tag the link to the video below. Okay, I don't know if this creator is the original one that found this theory, by the way, but it says, "What if the betrayal hinted by Sarah J. Maas in ACOTAR 6 is Elaine? I can't help but think about how she got her powers. The cauldron gifted them to her. The cauldron is described as dark, wild, and cold throughout a court of mist and fury and a court of war and ruin. A common theme is like calls to like. The cauldron gave Elaine her gifts because she is evil. They're the same. Like calls to like. She is the one in the inner circle that betrays everyone. That's why Azrael's shadows call to her, why he watches her. Everyone thinks it's more. I think it's Elaine. Your thoughts?
That's an interesting take. What finds me intriguing about that the most.
That sudden stall. You were just kind of. It was like a hesitation.
Yeah, you can see the thought came in and entered. I processed it and came out with another thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't hate. Okay, I'm sorry. You talk.
Okay, just real quick. What intrigues me the most is the idea that Azrael is not drawn to her because we're supposed to ship them, but the twist that he's drawn to her because of some darkness that exists inside of her. Because he doesn't
trust her.
That's kind of interesting.
Because he doesn't trust her. We've never got Azrael's perspective. We have no idea whether he's actually attracted to her or not. We're just assuming that he is. The reason why I kind of actually want this to be a thing, it would be devastating to Feyre and Nesta, and I'm kind of twisted enough that I kind of want that to happen. I'm sorry. But
yes, I can see that.
But also,
Nesta protected her so much and not Feyre, like her precious little Elaine. Like, it's kind of satisfying.
She's been babied, and she whines, and she pouts, and complains, and just, oh, my pitiful little life. I will not get started on this.
You really don't like Elaine.
I don't like Elaine.
I feel like you feel like Elaine how I felt
boring.
about Nesta.
She's so boring. And I'm like,
yeah.
But then I also want the thing where Elaine is going to be the one to save Tamlin. I also want that theory. So I don't know. It's like I can't unless Sarah, hear me out. Unless Sarah does this little twisty thing and gets both to happen. But I wonder how
Tamlin could be redeemed if he joins up with the person who betrayed them again.
I also kind of liked the theory that I don't know if you heard about this one either, that Tamlin was actually mates with Amarantha, but he rejected the bond, and we were seeing his actions and his attitude and his kind of like personality was the effects of rejecting the mating bond, the mate.
I'm actually a fan of that too.
I know, I kind of liked that, and that would explain why he was so not unresponsive when he was around her. Mm-hmm. But then we also get somewhat of an explanation, but then it's like, I don't know.
See, when I was first reading that, because I didn't know anything about the series. I didn't know Rhysand was going to be the mate. Like, I was blind, right? I stayed away from everything. So my initial thought was Amarantha's controlling him somehow, and that has to be why he's so quiet and so silent. But my thing is, if she's hinted at a betrayal in book 6, which, by the way, thanks for that bomb, because I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently they're going to be betrayed in book 6. Remember how you and I have been talking about how Amren is actually evil? Mm-hmm. Amren. Is it Amren?
I thought it was Amren. The big one of them. Yeah.
Brave,
one of the inner
chick.
Circle. Yeah.
She pushed Rhys so much in Court of Silver Flames, like to just be a conqueror and be this. And she grated on me a lot more. And I just feel like she's going to be my gut tells me it's got to be her.
Okay, so this could just be the fact that I'm currently reading this monstrosity right now.
Right.
But, I'm sorry. I say that, and I'm like, I'm on chapter 4, and all the first 3 chapters are just bombshell negative, bombshell negative, bombshell negative. And I'm like,
You're like, you would love this, and I'm like, thanks.
I know. I'm like, Joanne, this is Joanna's cup of tea on a silver platter with scones. Like, this is literally just like a golden platter, and I'm like, I can't say anything because she can't get through book one. And I'm like,
I know.
please get through book one. And it's so much better. But yeah. And so I don't
That's
know if it's
funny.
just me because I'm reading this and this is a very negative war book. But to
Uh-huh.
me, does it feel like Silver Flames? It's like it just the whole universe feels like it's boiling. It's like it feels like it's like a tea, like an electric tea kettle that's just getting ready to start bubbling, and it's just and the button hasn't clicked yet, and it hasn't exploded,
Mhm.
you know, or like the pressure
Yeah, I can
cooker
see
hasn't
that.
exploded yet. It just feels like it's building for something, or like there's still some kind of like gnawing in the back of my mind, like there's something going to happen.
Yeah.
And we
I
have
don't
two
know.
more
Like, I
books
hope
apparently.
so.
But it's like I don't know. I just feel like I just don't want it to be like character arc and be done. Like I want maybe Throne of Glass is rubbing off on me more cuz that sounds more like
Mhm.
a epic fantasy kind of moment where like you have like this world conflict that happens and it's like
Mhm.
maybe I can kind of see what the
People are
complaints that
kind of
people
saying
are
when they
saying
prefer
when they
that.
say that Throne
Yeah.
of Glass is better because it's
Mhm.
like this doesn't focus solely on relationships, like solely on couples. Like
Yeah, it's
it
got a
is the
plot outside of
world.
that.
There's like a world conflict plot going on, and so it's like I
Yep.
don't know if like I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
My
I
brain's
mean, to
gotten
me,
into an epic fantasy thing,
the
and so now
ACOTAR,
I've kind of
to
gotten
me,
out of that romanticy, and so it's like
yeah.
I want something. I want a battle of the five armies to happen in ACOTAR. I want this big
And see, that's
explosion.
my thing. And that's my personal, like, I
Mhm.
always love like romances and I can't get away. I don't want them to be taken out, but I like higher stakes
Yeah,
than typical romances do.
yeah, I
And
get
that's
that.
why I kind of write the kind of content that I do because you don't usually see
Yeah,
that blended. But I
yeah,
feel like ACOTAR, even though there's big plot stuff happening in the series, like in the past, because it did build up to
hmm
kind of a fight and a few battles
yeah,
in Wings and Ruin. I no, what? Yeah, the third one.
yes, yes.
But it's always focused on the romances and the personal, like
hmm
especially Silver Flames. Silver Flames was legit
Oh yeah,
romance first. Like I
yeah.
would like
Oh yeah,
romantasy, like
yeah.
where the romance and the character arc was the focus.
hmm
And I kind of like there was a lot of training. Like it wasn't bad, but I'm just
No,
like,
yeah.
let's build to
Well,
something better,
I
like
can't help
bigger.
but
So I
think
definitely feel
I
that.
can't help but think that I'm growing to believe that this next book almost has to be Elaine focused. Now, how that
Mhm.
is, I don't know. And that's why I wanted to mention that theory about Elaine actually being the bad one, the one that betrays everybody because we have like I don't know, for some reason I have in my head that there was two more after Silver Flames. I can't remember where I read that. But
Yeah,
we have Nesta who's discovered her power with these other spoiler alert, these other things. And
yeah.
I'm trying to be vague just in
Well,
case.
and they need to have a like those power. It kind of feels like there should be
Mhm.
more to
Mhm.
Nesta, like
Yeah.
do something with
She's
that.
yes.
So it
And so
has
it's
to be
like
something.
we have Feyre who I don't know. We have Feyre who still has her powers that has a child now. Spoiler alert, by the way. Sorry.
You're,
I just blurt spoilers.
you're-
I have no
yeah,
filter.
you're
Like you're
really
gonna
bad.
the longer you guys watch this, the more you're gonna realize I just don't care. I blurt spoilers and then I apologize afterwards. Like
Yeah,
that's how
that's why
my
I'm
person.
always scared when you
I'm
start talking about what you're reading because I'm like,
like sorry.
is she gonna slip something out?
I'm sorry. Oops. Anyway, and
Yeah.
things happen with Feyre. um, yeah, and
Things
so
happen.
it's
A
like
little late to try to blur it now, Hannah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So, Feyre had
All
some
right.
fun, as we're well aware.
Yeah.
She has a hubby, as we're well aware. 2 plus 2 is 4. Some things happen that couples do. Anyway, so, um,
I can't even
but
take a drink.
sorry. Okay, so
You're
but the
fine.
thing is that Feyre has kind
Yeah.
of developed herself. I feel like there's still more with her
Mhm.
though. I know I told you that her story kind of came to a close, but I'm like, I don't know. The more I read the negativity in this and the kind of like the constant gnawing that there's this bigger evil that hasn't been dealt with yet. And that's like a big thing with this whole series is like knowing that each as you go through each book there's like that gnawing and that constant feeling of like there's a bigger evil going on here. Like there's more going on here. There's
Mhm.
more that's
I
going to
love
happen. You know,
that.
it keeps building and building.
Yeah.
And that's why people are like you need therapy after this book because it this is what it's building to. And it's like
Mhm.
I don't know if I just want that for ACOTAR. And I feel like you can do that while also bringing romance more to the forefront
Yep.
than what this one is.
It's possible. Trust me.
And it's like I feel like Nesta has been being is kind of been settled into a position where she now has a bigger purpose. We have
Yeah.
Feyre that is in a position where she has a bigger purpose, but we could see more in there. There's still, you know, she's been placed.
Mhm.
She's been given like 2 or 3 books to be placed into this big position. You know,
Mhm.
spoiler alert. I
Yeah.
said it before this time. She's now equal with Reese, you know. Like there's that whole
Yeah.
thing. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, to be fair, we named it theories, so you can kind of assume that we're going to
That
talk
we're going to
about
be talking
spoilery
about
things.
spoilers.
So to be
Yeah.
fair, you're going to read between the lines in the
To be
title.
fair.
Anyway.
Yeah. But I also feel like going back to Elaine though and how
Yeah.
she's so boring. There's got to be some sort
It
of
needs to
twist
build
to
to
kind of
something.
spice things up.
The other
And
two
by
sisters
spice,
have been
I
built.
don't mean steamy spice. I mean to
Yeah.
change things up. I
Yeah.
should have used the word change. To
Yeah. No,
change
I got
things
you.
up because she's kind of a boring character. And honestly, like Nesta's book like had enough to kind of keep you hooked even though it was just a lot of training, like either she's training or she's in the library, she's training or
Mhm.
she's in the library, and then
Yeah.
sometimes we go and we get these things, spoiler alert, for the things that she got
Mhm.
for the powers that she has, so
Yeah.
that kind of changed things up. But like if Nesta's just frolicking around in the flowers and having a character arc, that's going to be so boring, so there's got to be more
she
happening.
there needs to be a reason for Nesta to have a character arc. Because as of
Yeah, because
right
she doesn't
now,
have
there's
one.
no reason for her to have this arc other than just to give
Exactly.
us a peace of mind. Like
Yeah.
that there like Sarah had to have given her a character arc in order for her to be in a position to help Feyre with something else later on. And I can
Yeah.
totally see it being I mean, it could either be like a three sisters fight this bigger evil, or it could be like a family split, a split family thing. I could see
Hmm.
I could see Nesta being that neutral character because she cares for Feyre, but she also cares for Elaine. And then Feyre and Elaine, I
Hmm.
don't know. I could see there's a whole bunch of possibilities.
Yeah.
I could see Elaine doing something against Reese or betraying them and hurting Reese, and I could see Feyre completely snapping and turning. But I can't see her
I
turning on
feel like
Nesta because spoiler alert,
uh-huh.
I give heads up this time.
You're getting better.
I get better. Spoiler alert, she saves her life. And I don't feel like that's something
Hmm.
that you can just brush under the rug with one betrayal. And the fact
Yeah.
that Reese reacts the way he does at the end of Silver Flames is enough to say that um I couldn't see Nesta like Feyre turning on Nesta. I don't know.
I don't think so. I feel like, to me, I don't know. I really like, I guess I want Amarin to be a bad guy so bad, but the way
Yeah.
she had this darker undertone and she
Hmm.
was pushing Reese to be a conqueror, and it
Yes.
felt
It
like
rubbed me the wrong
you're
way.
pushing him to be bad.
He
Why are
doesn't
you
want
doing
that.
that?
Yeah.
And I feel like she's been set up as this baddie for so many books and now whatever, I can't remember
Hmm.
the details, but somehow, spoiler alert, she's
I
human
think
again or
I
not
think she
as epic,
knows
but she could be a big baddie if she
or
betrayed them.
hear
You know
me
what I'm
out.
saying?
Hear me out.
Uh-huh.
She could be pushing him to do that because she knows more than she's letting on.
That too.
She has
Yeah.
she has more knowledge of the higher beings, higher power, whatever, that she could know more than she's letting on, and she's telling Reese, "Hey, you're going to need to start doing this without really
Yeah.
telling him because this is coming."
Yeah.
Part of me
Okay, hear
part
me
of me
out.
wants a
I
Marvel
want
Part of me wants an Avengers
Yes,
Endgame moment where all 3 series
yes.
come together. I want that so bad, even though I haven't read the
How
3rd
did she
series
do
yet.
that? I
I'm like,
literally was about to say it. I
that's
was
funny.
literally, you stole the words from me. You.
I'm sorry.
I
Great
was
minds
just
think
about to
alike.
say that. Yeah,
But that's
what I
what
was
I
gonna say is
want.
what I
Like, I could
want.
see that
I was
being a
like, is it
big thing.
crazy that I want a series
Yes.
overarching thing where they all have to come together to solve this
Mm-hmm.
problem?
Oh, that's
Like,
another
is that
theory.
crazy?
Oh, you can't answer. You won't be much help with this theory because you haven't started reading Throne of Glass yet.
I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
reading this book.
Mm-hmm. And are you fully happy with that book? No, you're not. Sorry, I'm playing
I
Temptation
did have Throne
Instrument.
of Glass as a bonus, so if I finish this one, I
It's
may get.
always a
I have the
bonus.
audiobook.
A bonus is like an honorable mention. You didn't actually get an award, but you were runner up. Just saying.
I know. I
Also,
did
my
actually
my
buy the
face keeps
audiobook for the
flashing
next book
green, so I'm
too.
gonna have to look that up later.
It's okay. We don't mind.
Okay, cool. Maybe I'm just being
It's
too
just for like a
obnoxious and I
second.
need to chill.
I thought I was crazy actually because I was like, am I seeing that or am I not seeing that?
No,
Um,
you're not
but
seeing
yeah,
that.
I'm trying
That's
to
on
figure
my end
out a
too.
way that she could have Elaine be the betrayer and the bad guy and do the
Yeah.
Tamlin theory and give him a redemption arc.
Or
I
he
don't
could
know how
have
that
a
would all work
true,
together.
or they could be a baddie couple together, and he could fully go
I
bad.
want him to be redeemed though. I don't want him to betray them again. They hate him enough as it is. Ugh,
See, this
I
would be
lost
the
my hair.
payback for all the times you have crushed readers' hearts with your plot twists and cliffhanger endings.
Speaking
This is payback.
Speaking of which, I wanted to mention, I'm not spoiling. So I'm
Okay,
not a spoiler person. Just saying.
sorry.
Um, the
I
immortal
spoil enough
Rome.
for the both of us, to be fair.
Yes, you do. I'll let you cover that department. The immortal gladiator arc,
Yeah.
the stuff that happens there, and the
Uh-huh.
kind of the big
Atmosphere.
thing that kind of like the big thing.
Mm.
Um, this does it better. This does the whole
Oh.
Immortal Gladiator arc better. But then you
Oh.
add in the political intrigue and it's a fantasy world
So
instead of actually
is
ancient
there
Rome.
is
So
there a romance? Oh, there is?
kind of,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's
Okay.
pretty good. There was oh my god, so much.
Now you see
There
why
was
I
such a
spoil
funny
things because I have no filter.
there was such a funny like moment that was like this person thought one thing but the other person had completely different
Oh.
intentions and it was so hilarious
Uh-huh.
and so awkward and I actually laughed out loud. I haven't laughed
Oh,
out
that's
loud from
funny.
an actual book in a long
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know when I actually have. So but yeah, I just wanted to
Yeah.
this book. But yeah, I just gotta get through the Throne of Glass slump, but Throne of Glass is technically like whenever I finish it, I don't mean
Okay.
bonus as extra. I mean it's going to be a good like a
It
good
is
thing
the
happening that month.
it is the like the best. I don't know. I know you said you don't think it's slow, but it is like it's the calmest of all the books.
Yeah.
So it is, like that's where I thought it was like I thought it was slow because I had read one of the books that was written a little later on after it started getting more fast paced. And
Yeah, and that kind of
and
slowed you
so it's
down.
like
I can see that.
it's a progression. Honestly, I believe it's a progression of her writing style too. Like cuz you can like in some of the later books you get to is when she was starting to write the ACOTAR series too. So as well, and so it was kind of like alternating back and forth. And so you can kind of see the progression of her writing because Throne of Glass was like one of her oldest if I remember correctly. So it's like you can
Yeah.
definitely see the progression in her writing. So like the reason
Hmm.
why I don't know. I know if I remember correctly, yours is like the main character's attitude, right? Like it's just you're struggling to connect with her.
She is this arrogant assassin who's a baddie. Spoiler alert. I don't know if that's a spoiler. That's what it starts off
No,
as, so
yeah,
it's pretty
no,
obvious to
yeah.
me. But she's just this I'm a good assassin and I can kill everybody and I can kill everything, and I'm just arrogant with the two guys that are in the scene with me, and I can do everything, and I don't know, I just don't like her attitude, and I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah.
I hate her more than I hated Nesta in the beginning, but I had more
That's
books to
where
grow to my hatred of Nesta, so it's
yeah.
like her attitude and personality, just it's the
I don't know.
I'm a
That's
strong
why
female who can kill
yeah.
everybody and I know it and I'm gonna brag, and like I could kill him, like the guy, he's like a king or something and he leans down or something and she's like, I could kill him if this and that, but I'm not going to. And it's just like, really, you're that? I don't know, it just grated me the wrong way. I'm
No.
still in the scene where they're telling her about the deal is where I left off.
Well, and I think
So
that the novellas that take place before book 1 give
in
you
Assassin's Blade.
it's like stories of, I'm assuming the name's Assassin's Blade, so I'm assuming you can kind of pick up the fact that it's just stories about her as an assassin. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a
Yeah, it's
spoiler,
pretty
right?
obvious.
Okay, so it's like
No.
it's stories of
You're
her
like,
as
your attempt
I'm
to
scared
avoid
now.
spoilers.
I'm scared
Like,
now.
you still
Okay.
muttered it, so if it had been a spoiler, it's already spoiled. That should have been the title of this. Is just literally she spoils everything.
Check mark. We need like a little tally thing at the corner. Bloop.
Yep.
Bloop. I'll get a little whiteboard and put it behind my head.
Yeah. Start a spoiler counter. Spoiler.
Or I have to pay $1 every time I spoil something.
That'd be funny.
I would be so broke. Broker than I already
You'd be
am on a
broke.
teacher's salary.
I know, pretty much.
Oh man. Anyway,
that's hilarious.
what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something and my brain just started blah 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 and now it's gone.
That Assassin's
Oh,
Blade will help you with
I
her attitude.
honestly
Is I think
believe
where you were going with that.
honestly, Assassin's Blade gives you the context of why she has that attitude.
Yeah.
But it also helps
I mean, no,
you
I get
it
it.
helps you
I
empathize with her because there are
yeah.
certain things that happen that lead up to her being in that prison and wanting to get out and wanting to be yeah.
No, I mean, I get it. It's just a character type that like
I get
grates
it.
on me regardless of the reasons.
Yeah, I get
Like,
that.
Nesta eventually became not arrogant and she kind of learned a lesson and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
and she wasn't really arrogant so much as she was just angry and hateful to everybody.
Yeah, I
So
get that.
it's just like the arrogant female
Yeah.
attitude and females who are tough and know it. I just don't like those kind of
Yeah.
characters regardless of whatever
Yeah,
reasons you put
that's
in it.
fair.
And yeah, it'll probably help to soften me to her, but it's just not my cup of
I
tea.
know.
So,
But
but
there's so much
honestly, I was
angst.
thinking, I've been watching Rain so much lately. I've been thinking about doing a video about how the character Mary Stewart is the best like strong female lead done right that has ever been written in a movie, show, book thing. Because
Which book is this in?
It's not a book, it's a TV show. It's called Rain.
Oh,
I wish it was
that's
a book
right.
series. I would read the
Okay,
heck out of that.
I know what you're talking about now. I was thinking, I'm like, what character? I've never heard this character, Rain. Because I was thinking Rain was the character. I don't know what my brain was
Rain,
thinking.
not that Rain. No, Rain, the TV show Rain. Like, I'm a king and I reign over the land, not
gotcha.
whatever Rain, the other guy from Serpent and the Wings of Night. Which, by the way, I still have to finish that series too. So the novella and this final one. So it's like,
yeah.
After I'm done with this one, I may do blind date with a book where the wheel or the pulling a name out of a hat chooses which one I do, whether Throne of Glass or the novella, because you want me to do Throne of Glass really bad. And I feel like that would be an interesting thing when I get this done.
Yeah.
Is to let the wheel decide or whatever I'm going to do instead of a wheel. I don't know if I'm going to put them all, write their names on a thing, and that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I may hybrid read and either follow along with the audiobook to kind of help me, or
for sure.
do listening to the audiobook when I'm occupying myself so I can still hear the book, but I'm not only focused on the book and therefore I'm not as bored trying to get through it, and not bored's the wrong word, but like irritated or annoyed. Like I just don't like wasting, like that's been my problem back before, is this whole thing, like the podcast has, and being committed to like
Yeah.
reading every month has got me to actually
Oh,
read
yeah.
and dedicate
Cool.
time to it.
Yeah.
But I have a really bad habit of not finishing books because I'm not going to waste my time reading something I don't like.
Yeah.
And that's just my personality. And if I don't like it, I'm not going to finish it. And that's
Sure.
why I did not finish like so many books. But this is keeping
Yeah.
me, honestly, I'm a little OCD now too, because I've got like a 43-day reading streak going on.
Yeah.
It's been going on since October.
Yeah.
And I really want to see if I can read at least once every single day
Sweet.
for a year.
Cool.
So I want to see if I can manage to pull that off.
Hey, you wrote
that
a
all
million
being
words
said-
in a year. I feel like you could read once a day for the entire year. I feel like that could be an easy
Yeah.
goal for you to get.
It could be. I've almost, my biggest problem is my night schedule, because I read at 2 a.m., but it already counts as tomorrow. So I didn't log anything
Yeah.
yesterday. And so it's kind of, it gets a little sketchy sometimes, but
Yeah.
yeah. Honestly, the fact that there's so much angst and like stuff that I kind of like later in the series though may motivate me
and
to
honestly,
get through the swamp from the beginning.
There are so many more characters other than just those main three, that there are way more characters that I think you would fall in love with later, like girl characters and guy characters that I think you would really enjoy later on in the series. So that's like, it's just, and that, I think that's another reason why, like looking at all of the ones that I've read so far, why Throne of Glass seemed so simple, because like compared to like Empire of Storms or Queen of Shadows or Air of Fire, like all of these other books, there's so many more characters that make up the book, and like so many more POVs, that like book one seems so simple. I guess that's a better way of saying it. It's not boring, it's not
that
slow.
Makes a lot of sense.
It's very simple compared to everything else in the series. Like book two gets better, like book two builds some, but it's like book three and on, it's so much more complex, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds.
And it's like one POV in
and
Throne of Glass.
By the way, I can't remember,
is it written in first person in Throne of Glass? Is the rest of the series, when you add all the POVs, is it third person?
It says like
he, she, instead of I and me.
Yeah. It says it didn't matter what, she still offered him. Yeah. So yeah, it's
okay. It's third person. Okay,
I
cool.
always get those confused.
Third person, so that may help. Is this one first or third? I haven't been paying attention.
I never pay attention to that. Like that's where it's like I never even think about that. Because honestly, oh, that's pretty.
I know, it's just so gorgeous. I had trouble getting started because I just
couldn't. Since we're showing off maps. So we're
Okay.
showing off maps. Look at that. Look at that beauty.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah. But honestly,
she does have other books though.
Oh.
So the Weird Girls series and Shattered Past series sounds like modern day romance.
The first one did for sure. What was
I don't know. So I hope that there's going to be more. We'll see how this one ends, and if it ends in a way that like could continue it.
Yeah.
So I was like, when you're a psychopath when you read the trigger warning and you get excited.
That's funny. Oh.
Yeah, it was like torture, dismemberment, violence. I'm like, yep, let's go. Yep. I'm here.
Check mark. It's like you have this tally mark in your head. All right, we got this trauma, we got this trauma, we got this angst, we got this angst. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
It's like, oh my gosh, I love it. It's just so creative with like the races and stuff. Like this is not a spoiler, but like there was one random side character that was like some sort of ogre, and he had this like overbite or underbite, and it described his mouth, and the way their jaws are located caused him to not be able to speak English. And so they have these like, I, Jane, you, Tarzan, they talk very simply. They can't do multi-syllabic words because of the way their jaws are structured.
Yeah. Caveman talk.
Yeah, but like they have to stick to monosyllabistic words because of the way their jaws are structured, and I'm like, that's a racial detail. I feel like we don't get anything.
Yeah.
Like building races and like why they
Although
act the way that they do.
I feel like my day reverts back to butt in chair, so I feel like I feel like I could relate to that even to some extent. Sometimes
Oh,
you
it's
just got to
funny.
get rid of all the extra words in the sentence, and you just dumb it
Yeah.
down.
Honestly, there's this game called Neanderthal that Michael's nephews like to play, and you
Uh,
have to use only one word syllables to describe a word
oh,
and get the person to guess what it is. And
I love
if you
that.
do multiple syllables, the
Uh-huh.
other person gets to hit you in the head with this plastic blow up little
Oh,
bat. And they liked it
yeah.
just because they got to beat each other up. But it was funny. And nobody ever plays it with me because Michael and Alicia hate it. So it's like I never get to play that game. But I'm like, I'm a writer. I think that's fun. And I totally want to play it and like film it sometime. But yeah, honestly, my biggest issue for now is that I'm more in a gaming mood and I'm really into Skyrim. And like, honestly, I haven't gamed a whole lot for like all fall and even bleeding back into the summertime. So I feel like I'm just into doing that more than reading. I feel like, because I thought one of our check ins was in October when you start, was it November? I've been editing so much of our TBR check ins, I don't remember which one it was, but it was either the October or November one where you had that for 1 week that we checked in and you mentioned that you were
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
either like scrolling or just playing video games and like doing that instead of reading. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm at is like I haven't
Yeah.
played games hardcore all summer. Like everything has just been sitting here not doing anything. And I feel like I kind of, and I've also been working a lot like releasing Immortal and editing Immortal and
Hmm.
writing this. And I wrote 100,000 words in 40 days. And now I'm doing this and,
Yeah. Yeah.
NaNoWriMo. And now I'm just like, I want to just play
Yeah.
games instead of read. And I
Well,
think
and
that's kind
it's
of where I'm
like, and I feel like there's something, I don't mean this is going to sound bad, but I don't mean this in a negative
at.
way. But it's like there's
Yeah.
something that almost feels like somewhat mindless about video games. Like your body's able to just completely shut down with all of like their worries, frustrations, the stresses, and you're just able to just, and I guess reading is that way too, but it's like
Mhm. It's
I
escapism.
feel so much of what the characters feel that it's almost like video games are a way for me to just not feel for a bit. And it's like,
Yeah.
and especially when like I get to certain times in the school year where my brain is like food lab, food lab, food lab, or like I keep forgetting this one thing because PCOS messes with my memory and I can't remember things very well. And it's
Same.
like
I literally do
it's
so
like
bad.
I need to remember, like for example, I was gonna let a coworker borrow Iron Flame, and I it's the book jacket, the actual book's gone. But
Yeah.
like, and I forgot, and I emailed him, and I'm so sorry, I forgot it at home. I'll bring it tomorrow. And it's like my brain was so focused on that that I forgot some of like the basic things at the house, and I'm like, I forgot something else important, and I'm like, are you serious? And it's
Mhm.
like,
It's gotten yeah, it's gotten so bad that Michael, when we go grocery shopping on the weekends, he starts testing me. Like, all right, what did we say we needed? And I'm like, I list out everything and I'm like, there were only three things. He goes,
I
no, babe, there's four things. I'm like,
yeah,
no, there was three, that, and that. And he literally like has been testing me to try to strengthen
yeah,
my brain memory, but it's not really working very well. Like it's
yeah,
really bad. I
yeah.
have such memory problems, so I
Well,
get that.
and it's like I just like even like you said groceries, and I'm like I literally I have the Apple has the Remind app where it's like a to-do list that you can check mark off, and it's so frustrating because mom sometimes I'll go and get some stuff from mom too, and
Hmm.
she'll text me something and I'll be like okay I'll get that, but I won't add it on the checklist. And so
Oh yeah.
I will get all the way back over to their house to drop off what I was originally gonna get for her that was on the list. And then I get it to the house and I pull into the drive and I realized that I'd forgotten what she had texted me extra,
Oh man.
and I'm like I just and so it's like sometimes I feel like video games are a way for me to just like all the focus, and that can be dangerous too. Like you can't let it like, and that's where it's like it has to have a balance. Any hobby has to have a balance, because if
Yeah.
you let it consume every waking moment, it gets like obsessive almost, and it can get
Yeah.
dangerous too. And like that's where it's like video games have a very it's very easy for video games to become almost obsessive, and it's like letting it like
Yeah.
rule your life, and it's like you got to have that balance there. But it's like there's times where I'm just like I just want to sit here, I want to randomly I just want to kill a bunch of skeletons, at a zombie spawner in Minecraft, or I want to just
Yep.
randomly walk around as a warrior sorcerer in Skyrim, and I just want to
Mhm.
chill. You
Yeah,
know.
I know for me with like video games like Skyrim and Sims,
Hmm.
it's which are two very different video games by the way, but hear me out, is a way for me to be creative and create stories without the work of sitting
Yeah,
and actually writing something or sitting and
that's true.
brainstorming something. Like I have made up so much, like my entire Mythreach universe and all the books I've written there were because I created characters in
Hmm.
Skyrim, role played them the way that I want, made my own universe and fit it all in there. And
Yeah.
it just is such a fun way to just create stories. But like you said, it's like a mind numbing version of it. So it doesn't feel like as much work as like writing a story or
Hmm.
whatever. And it's a different type of escapism, I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like, than books because this, like, it's already pre written. You can't control anything. But a video game with certain types of things, like you're a part of the story. Like in Subnautica, you're the one running from the Leviathan and trying not to
Yeah.
get eaten. And you're the one building in Minecraft. And you know,
Hmm.
you're the one getting to do all that stuff. And that's why I love interactive fiction. Like on the Chapters app that I'm adding more book. Like I'm trying to, not only is it a way to earn income, which I actually did earn $4 this month or last month. It was November.
Woo!
So $4, two books.
You're four
So but if
dollars
I got
richer.
like 20, it would add up eventually. So I'm just kind of like throwing, but it's like a fun way to like
Hmm.
still read, but you get to dictate the story. And so
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, we've gone off on a tangent. That's the fun thing about being live is like,
Well,
I mean, we posting
well,
all of our content. That's why last
it's
month was
called
7 hours long
we have
because
only been
we
we've
talked a
only
lot.
been live for 45 minutes, to be fair.
Hey, that's good. Most podcasts are an hour, so we're still good.
We're
Which,
good.
by the way, long story short, podcast issue. So WordPress turns out has a plugin, like an automatic podcast system in their thing,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so you make it like where you do it as a blog post, but instead of writing, you just add the audio to it, and then
Hmm.
you make it the category, which is our podcast, like Pens and
Yeah.
Paperbacks podcast. So you check that, and then it automatically goes into your RSS feed.
Yeah.
But the problem is the RSS feed is having some sort of error, and the
Oh.
help people are giving me the runaround, and I
Oh,
don't
that's
know
annoying.
what's wrong.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of at like a stuck point trying to
Yeah.
figure that out. But eventually we will figure it out because there
Cool.
are other apps that can do it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like figuring out which
Yeah.
ones would be the
That's
best.
fair.
So that's what's going on with our actual podcast. But eventually, for everybody out there, we will be
Yes.
on podcast platforms. So
Yeah.
but for now, YouTube, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just have a lot of backlogged episodes, which
Yeah.
is fine.
That's fair. And I like the new format where we do our check-ins live, um
Yeah,
and then we post our shorts constantly, and it's like back and forth.
I do too.
Yeah,
It's
like
helping me stay faithful to you like social media for my regular reels and social
yeah,
media, and then
yeah,
the podcast, the podcast YouTube channel
yeah,
and stuff, and then it saves up me the trouble of having extra content to edit as well. Like it's a
yeah,
lot more relaxing. Like, oh, I don't have to be OCD and make sure
yes,
everything's like
yeah,
perfect in editing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
I
like
get
it.
that. All
So,
right. Any
I do feel like I'm
last?
not getting as
Huh?
sorry.
No,
I
you're
do
good.
feel like sometimes with the shorts, I don't get as detailed as I used to do in the check-ins.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
need to do some where I do, because I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm like, I need to do some where I talk details
oh
because I'm
yeah,
not getting out the details of this book yet. And
yeah.
I'm like,
No,
I need
you're
to talk
good.
details with something. So I
Yeah,
need to do that at some point. But
yeah. Do that.
anyways,
I did
proceed.
that with Empire of Storms and with Tower of Dawn a little bit too at one point. So you're good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
did you have any last minute theories, slumpish talks, or I think because I
Yeah,
know
I don't
I've
know.
pretty
I
much
feel like
shared everything.
sometimes with slumps you got to push through it
Yeah,
because it's like it's what's needed. Other times I feel like, especially if you've been working hard, if you've been overwhelmed at work, if you have a lot of things going on at school, or
yeah,
you know, you've just been working constantly, you've been doing overtime, you've been pushing yourself, or you have been neglecting one hobby or another, I feel like
yeah,
it's good to like give
yeah.
yourself a break and play those video games or read.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like, because we've talked about how reading is so important, even for, especially
Yeah.
for people who don't think they can read, like
Mm-hmm.
you will find something that fits you. And start, if you need to start small, start thin. There's a
Yeah.
lot of short stories and novellas and different things like that that'll be more bite-sized. And I
Uh-huh.
feel like today there's a lot of more bite-sized content, like the webtoons comic app, whatever
Yeah.
that is. The
Yes.
chapter stories app, a lot of the stories on there
Mm-hmm.
are the ones that are good and clean. By the way, there's a lot of non-clean ones out there, for warning for everybody.
Yeah.
But the ones that are clean, like my content, are short and more bite-sized content, and the contemporary romance genre is actually pretty bite-sized too, I would say. So
Yeah.
pushing it, but it's okay to take that break. But my goal is to read a little bit every day because progress is progress. So I'm still reading. I did already read a little bit today. I'm trying to get through this political slump, but apparently now there's another chapter. We're at 4 in a row. I'm like, God, I got one more.
How long are the chapters? Like roughly how many pages?
It varies. Like the last one, I ended on page 135, and it started on page 127. So like 10 pages or less, depending on the chapter. Some of his have been a little long because a little something and stuff. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm just hoping the next chapter we get back to
It will. Like you can't stay in this one POV for the rest of the books without like it introduced going back and forth, so you can imagine it's probably just something that the author really, really wanted to get out. Or like either that or it's setting the stage for something else later. So you just kind of power
right
through.
Now I get the reason. There's a reason why we're in the other person's POV that I can't spoil. So it's just we need to keep. We can't go back to the other character at the moment, so we need some time to pass. So we'll work. It'll happen, but yeah. So I think that's everything that we need to talk about. So
thanks for joining.
We'll check in with you guys.
Thanks for watching the VOD back.
Or whatever.
So the VOD will be there. So be on the lookout for our individual updates because we'll usually either I'm trying to get to every day, but there are some days where I'm just like I didn't read today and I don't really have anything to say. So I'm not always every single day. I know Joanna, you are pretty much almost every day because you're more.
If I don't have anything to say, I'm gonna try to do random bookish content. So we'll see, like ranking books or saying yes or no or some little things like that. So if I have nothing to say, but
all right. See you next week, and we'll do another live stream, and it'll be a little less awkward at the beginning. But if you like bookish content, if you like chaotic cousins ranting about random things and me forgetting to say spoiler, I apologize. If you enjoy us and you don't find us absolutely insane or irritating, make sure you subscribe and follow along with us. Read and let us know in the comments what you're reading as well.
Yeah, how are your guys reading going? Let us know.
May or may not want to read it. So, and gives me an excuse to buy more books because I always need more books.
We love being broke and owning tons of books that we shouldn't have bought. I mean, that's always a fun thing.
Oh yeah, totally.